Okay, so I'm at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, and we're talking about the movie Outrun, and you are?
I'm Leo Chang. I'm the producer-director of Outrun.
Okay, so let's talk. What is the basic story or subject behind Outrun?
So Outrun is about the only queer political party in the world and its effort to elect a transgender woman to Congress in the Philippines.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, I guess here in America we have, I guess I'm overly exposed to the plight and the struggle of the LGBT community here. What is it like in the Philippines, or how different is it compared to what we experience here?
It's actually really interesting in the Philippines, and it certainly, was not my expectation when I first started to research the subject matter. In the Philippines, queer people, especially the gender non-conforming folks, are actually quite visible in the society, and you can, see them walking down the street. They're in the family, and they're out, and everybody knows who they are. But at the same time, they're very marginalized. They're kind of seen as like, oh, if you're a gay man, then let's get you ready to go work in a hair salon,
right. They're like crazy Uncle Bob.
Yeah. Like they're not really taken seriously. You're kind of expected to be a comedian. You're expected to, compete in these like transgender beauty pageants, and like become a sex worker or something. So it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition and different than what we would expect here.
Yeah. So any highlights or any points that really stand out in the film that you bring out?
Well, we had this really fascinating group. I mean, the antagonist in our story is this congressman who's trying to get reelected in Manila, and he is a fundamentalist preacher, but he actually recognizes that the LGBT people is a viable voting bloc in his district, so he actually got a group of people together to support him, but he named the group AIDS. It's just blew our mind.
Wow.
I mean, it was shocking, and we got to interview the AIDS people. I mean, it's weird to even just say it. So there was a lot of things that kind of just blows your mind in terms of people's attitude towards.
Yeah, culture. I mean, it's different, but it's kind of the same.
Yeah. I mean, people don't think about it. Philippines is an American colony,
right?
There's huge American influences. They look to the U.S. For many, many things.
Right.
So there are a lot of similarities, but then at the same time, there are these indigenous cultural elements that, for an American, it's really foreign. Mm-hmm. And I think part of the reason why LGBT people are visible is because traditionally in the indigenous culture there is a place for people who are like quote unquote the third gender.
So how did you come upon this subject? I mean, what made you want to talk about the first political? I mean, it's an intriguing concept.
It is. And it all kind of started when my film partner Johnny and I came across this article about an openly gay member of parliament in Nepal who was trying to push for same-sex marriage, but in order to market Nepal as a tourist destination for same-sex couples around the world, so they can come and like get married at Himalayas or something. Which to us was sort of brilliant to think like, oh, well, here's somebody who's like on the inside trying to frame, the LGBT issue as an economic issue and not a, in addition to being a human rights issue. And we started thinking, well, who else is doing this kind of stuff? Who else are the pioneers of their culture, like are the first in their country to come out and speak out and demand to be part of the decision-making process. So we ended up finding, this group of folks in the Philippines, which to us was fascinating, that there was an actual party, an entire political party of queer people. So,
and let's see. I mean, from a documentary standpoint now, how do you research something like this, and how do you prepare what do you do to prepare before you go in with cameras?
You try to talk to a lot of people on the ground. You try to read and really educate yourself about the environment and the subject matter. for me personally, and other documentarians might approach it differently, but for me, it's all about compelling subjects that the people that we're following are interesting people who have things to say, who have an interesting struggle, who have an interesting narrative that they're willing to share with us.
Right. And do you kind of come in beforehand with a game plan and a storyline, so to speak, or is there a level in which when you finally land on the ground, you say, "Oh, my story's going to change, but it's changing in a great way"?
Well, I think being a good producer, you should always come in with a plan, but it usually ends up not being the plan. But you should have a point of departure, a point of reference to deviate from.
So how far was the deviation with that?
Well, we knew that we were going to follow the campaign, right? There was an election day. There was there's an end point to the story.
Okay, so you made it to you got the beginning and end.
Yeah. But we kind of knew we wanted to follow our main character, this woman, Benedito, who's the candidate. But we didn't know what else we would find. We didn't know who the antagonist was going to be. We didn't know what struggles they will have. We didn't know how well they will do in the campaign. And we ended up making it more of almost like an ensemble story. So besides Bems, we actually followed two other trans women who also work with her, but who are really different from her. And then we followed two gay men who were also candidates of the party. So it was, multi-character story.
Okay. So what do you hope your audiences get from the film? What's the message you want to get across?
Well, I think that we're always hoping that people will first be entertained by the story. This is storytelling, and people should be compelled and engrossed and moved by the story. But we feel like if there's an opportunity for us to introduce more varied, diverse portrait of transgender people, then we've done our part to move this forward. So we want people to see that trans people can be politicians, that trans people have concerns and struggles that are oftentimes not that different from the non-trans people, and especially with the different laws that are being passed in the U.S. right now. All these bathroom laws.
Bathrooms.
And there's actually a scene in the film where. We didn't show the event, but people were responding to the aftermath of a trans woman being beaten to death because she had gone into the women's bathroom. So it's something that I hope that Americans will find, similarities, and will find. Resonance in this story that seems to take place so far away, but it's actually super relevant to what we're going through.
It's kind of interesting to see the same issues that we go through, but through the filter of another culture.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer of that people really not that different around the world. Yes, there are clearly distinct qualities, to all of our cultures, but at the same time, there are just so many similar struggles that we all go through.
Yeah, the conflict's the same, but the battle takes a different plan, so to speak.
Right. Everybody wants to be accepted, and everybody wants to have their place in society, and everybody wants to, live their life without being discriminated against. I think that will resonate around the world.
So what does it mean to you to be here at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival?
I've shown 7 films at this festival. I went to USC Film School, and VC has shown my very first student film to now my 4th feature-length documentary. I love coming back here. These people are amazing. It just feels like home. I look forward to this being one of my festival stops every time I finish a film. And I hope everybody come in and join the celebration and then check out the films.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.